Good evening. Welcome. I am Linda Gillespie, licensed Unity teacher and assistant minister at Unity of New Braunfels. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you to our Wednesday night healing service. And I would like to introduce to you our guest. Dr. Venkat Srinivasan is going to talk to us about the three concepts of healing. Dr. Srinivasan is board certified American Board Internal Medicine, graduate fellow Andrew Weil Center of Integrative Medicine in Arizona, diplomat American Board of Lifestyle Medicine, SMART certified Benson Henry Institute of Mind-Body Medicine of Massachusetts, General Hospital in Boston. He's also adjunct faculty at Srihir in India. Srihir stands for a hospital. Dr. Srinivasan is board certified with over 20 years of medical experience. He completed his fellowship with Andrew Weil Center in Integrative Medicine in Arizona. He is a diplomat of the lifestyle medicine and underwent training at the renowned Benson Henry Institute. I've told you all of this before. Dr. Srinivasan has written a textbook, which I happened to find a copy of, called Principles of Mind-Body Medicine on this subject. He conducts workshops on stress management and burnout. He is sought after speaker on these topics. He's also written some very interesting books. Besides this textbook, one is Run, Leap, Sail, Dunk, and The Goalkeeper in Midfield, which reflect his passion for sports. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am just thrilled that you're here. And tonight we're just going to talk about something that you and I both have a passion for. I really appreciate the fact that once we had talked about you coming, you took the time to dig a little deeper, to know a little more about Unity. And you just told me a few minutes ago that you were impressed by our principles, and that makes me really happy, because I believe we are of like mind, and in our belief system, there's really only one mind. And so, let's talk about these three concepts. You want to tell us a bit about what you have in your mind tonight?
Sure. First of all, thank you, Ms. Gillespie. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of this congregation. And as I was telling you, the principles of Unity Church are very close to what I believe in. And it was a very, very pleasant surprise to see that there are like-minded people all over the world, separated millions of years, thousands of miles apart, and thought processes that evolved thousands of years apart from each other. And still, it reinforces that the truth is, really immutable and universal. So it's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
And as we were talking, one of the questions was, we do feel helpless in this situation quite often, quite a few people. So, we are in an extraordinary situation. And many a times what we read in the lay press and what we hear even from experts is that we cannot do much at this time. And a sense of helplessness evolves. But what I want to speak about today is that it is not the case. There are things we can do to improve our health even in this circumstance, and that's what I wanted to talk about. And the metaphor that I usually use was actually created by a very famous Israeli-American physician by name Dr. Aaron Antonovsky a few decades ago. Let's imagine that we are in a river or somebody is drowning in a river. We think disease is as though they are drowning in a river. I had a heart attack, I'm drowning. So the rescue team comes, the ambulance, the cardiologist, the nurses, the pharmacists, they give medicines or they do an angioplasty and they pull this person out of the river. So that is acute care medicine. Then we want to go upstream and prevent this person from falling. So you put a barrier on the bank, so to speak, which is your preventive medicine. Let me treat high blood pressure, let me treat high cholesterol, so that the person doesn't fall into the river. So this is kind of the metaphor we have for medicine today.
Yes.
That is assuming that the bank is safe and we are always on the bank until a disease happens. But are we ever really out of the river? Aging is a constant stressor, emotional stressors, job, social relationships, infections, what we are facing, one after the other, we are buffeted all the time. So in which case, there is no question that we are in the river. There are only two questions. How deep is the river and how well can I swim?
There you go.
So how bad is the disease system that is happening right now? How deep is the river? And how well can I swim? How well have I equipped myself to handle these stressors? So if we think about it, now we are not talking about our basic situation being health and we are falling into disease and going back into health, but we are now talking about how much healthier can I get or how much better can I swim. So I'll keep going back to this metaphor because everything we learn today or discuss today will be towards how do I equip myself better to handle this situation.
That makes perfect sense. So what do you recommend? How do we learn to swim?
Yes. How do we learn to swim? See, the good parts are a few. The first good part is that our body and our mind by nature are programmed to heal. So if we don't do bad things, generally they will heal. To just give an example, if I have a cut in my skin, it will heal. If it doesn't heal, maybe there is a bacteria sitting there which I have to eliminate, or there is a foreign body sitting there I have to remove, after which again the healing takes place. So the doctor doesn't cause the healing. He or she removes the impediment to heal. So our nature is to heal. That is very, very important. Then the practices that help us heal are the same for improvement of health irrespective of where we are in the spectrum, which means, let me make it less abstract and more concrete. For example, a good night's sleep. A good night's sleep is going to help us better whether we have a heart attack and are recovering, or I am studying for an exam and I am a 20-year-old kid, or I am an athlete, playing high-level basketball or football. For every person, a good night's sleep is going to help. A healthy diet is going to help every one of us irrespective of where we are. So the fundamental principles are very similar. For unique disease circumstances, there may be a few tweaks, or for unique social situations. I'm doing a shift work, I'm a new mom and I have a kid that is crying at night. Of course, we have to modify it a little bit, but the overall principles don't change much. So if you ask me, what do you want to what shall we do? There are 6 fundamental principles, and these are the pillars of what we call lifestyle medicine. And number 1 is avoid high-risk behavior, which is excessive drinking, smoking. Number 2, healthy plant-based diet. Number 3, regular exercise. Number 4, proper adequate sleep adequate in quality and quantity. Number 5 would be pro-social relationships, social connections, as we are doing in a church, connecting to people. And number 6 is stress management, which is a little bit of my specialty topic. So these are the 6 things that we can all work on, and if practiced properly, will go a long ways in improving our ability to swim.
That's incredible. I think I shared with you that before COVID, at the very beginning of the year, Reverend Gary began with a no complaint series, something that Will Bowen has created, and it's wonderful. And there were bracelets that says, excuse me, no complaint. And the idea is that you wear it on this wrist until you say something negative or complain or make a judgment, and then you move it, and then you move it, and then you move it. The whole idea is to get to 21 days with it on the same wrist. And we did that through the month of January, and some of us had good success, others of us did not. And then as we began to look at Lent, the Lenten season before Easter, our co-founder, Charles Fillmore's whole idea about Lent and what we should give up is negative thinking, and that we really should practice Lent all year round, not just 40 days. And he introduced something called the Daniel diet, or the Daniel fast, I'm sorry. And so some of us did the Daniel fast, others of us were going, I got to have my meat, I got to have my dairy, I'm not doing this. And my son had encouraged me to look at plant-based early in the year. So I had started that just after January. It's made all the difference in the world, and I'm still following that. But it's almost like we were preparing for tonight as we came into this situation, for this discussion of how we can use what we've learned and experienced for ourselves for our own healing, body, mind, and spirit, because we are a threefold entity. So it's exciting to hear you speak to what we know. And so tell me more about the behavior and the other ideas that you have that go along with this.
Sure. I did not know about the Daniel fast until I spoke to you, and I reviewed it, and it is a phenomenal diet, and I would have no qualms in recommending that to any patient.
Cool.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal diet. Even more rigid than whole food plant-based, because as the fluids are restricted to water, and there is no added sugar in the diet. So coming to the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, the first is very common, that is don't smoke and don't drink in excess. And so here the problem is not one of not knowing. Right. Everybody knows. So in terms of smoking, it's usually I cannot quit. but I tell patients we always quit. It's only that our quitting period tends to be 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, and then we restart. It's just like anything else in life. We quit a few times and then we come back. And there's no harm in failing. Just keep trying. Every time we fall, we just get up. Rather than thinking, either I can or I cannot, I'm trying and I have succeeded. There are only two things. And excessive alcohol, the first question, of course, is always acceptance that it is a problem, and then go from there on to cut that down and then come out of it. So there are, fortunately, probably in most churches, there are very few people who have these problems. These behaviors tend to be lower in people with a religious mindset, but it's okay. These are not. I, as a physician, never judge patients. It is a disease, so I just handle it as a disease. So in the same way, objectify it. Yes, it is a disease, but I need to get rid of it. Let's not become too enamored with our weakness.
Good thought.
Yeah, and sometimes we do. I like some people say I am obsessive compulsive, and it's okay. You don't have to feel enamored about it. If it's hurting you, you can come off of it. And then nutrition, whole food, plant-based diet, which is very simple. The Daniel diet is, what the church, the pastor had recommended. It's a great thing. If not, let's not get too intimidated. At least one dish, I tell patients, at least start with defining your dish by the vegetable that it contains. Instead of saying, I ate chicken for lunch, I ate vegetable stir fry, and I garnished it with chicken. So let the definition be the vegetable. If you cannot do that, at least take one meal where a vegetable dish is the primary thing. So my lunch, I had salad or a soup, or for dinner, I had a stir fry, or for breakfast, I had oatmeal, at least one meal. If that's not possible, then at least add extra vegetables to each meal, or at least to one meal. If that is not possible, go 1 day a week without meat. If not, at least take one dish a week. Give it a try. And so incrementally get there. Exercise, walk. Walking is as good as any other exercise. How much should you walk? 1 step more than how much you walked yesterday. That's the very simple rule. So just walk as much as you can. And household activity counts. We call it NEPA, non-exercise physical activity. So just being busy around the house, gardening, mopping the floor, doing the dishes, all of them count. Dancing, everything counts. In fact, most healthy communities in the world, they don't have an exercise time. They are just busy. They walk to the store, walk to the mailbox, walk to the neighbor. Pro-social activities, meet people every day, be part of some community, have relationships. Sleep, prioritize sleep. And sleep is a big topic by itself, but prioritize it first, which means if I wake up in the morning and I feel sleepy, it means either the quantity of sleep was not good or the quality of sleep was not good. Same way, if on a weekend I need to catch up on my sleep, then throughout the week I did not do well. And that lack of sleep every day hurts our health overall. Stress management, that's another big topic,
Yes.
and we will talk about it if time permits when.
We're good. Talk about
Okay.
it. Talk about stress
Stress
management.
management.
Because that's what's going on in our world right now,
Yes.
is stress upon stress upon stress. And, we came into the COVID situation stressed already.
Yes.
Because of our job, because of our responsibilities as a parent. Whatever it is, there was some level of stress before this began. And now it's magnified.
Yes.
And then we have the racial situation. And then we have the political moving toward the vote, the upcoming election. And it's just a very stressful time. So talk to us about how we can handle our stress.
Sure. If I sound as though I'm saying things that are already very well known, please bear with me.
Oh,
Okay.
sure.
So let's start with why was the stress response created? I think everything in the body has a reason. So imagine a deer being chased by a tiger. That deer has to run fast and has to escape. So it has to be alert. It has to run fast. Energy has to be mobilized and delivered to all the muscles. And all unwanted processes have to be stopped, which is digestion, reproduction, all of those. There's no time for that. You need everything to be working so that the muscles pump. So this is what the acute stress response is. Now, this lasts only a few seconds to a minute or two and gets triggered maybe once a day or 2-3 times a day based on a threat that the deer sees. But it's not constant. The deer sees the tiger, runs, or deer senses a tiger and runs, and that's it. After that, it's all done. It's going back to it. So this is a great fire alarm system that helps this deer survive. What human beings have done is that we have converted this into a situation where we trigger this multiple times a day. Oh, it's getting late to work. I don't have enough money. I don't like this politician. I don't like what is going on in the world. So every time we just keep hitting this alarm. Either we never turn the alarm off or we constantly trigger it multiple times. And because we do either of these, we enter into a chronic stress which nature never anticipated. Now, so we have created a situation where we are chronically stressed, which has no physiological reason or benefit. So we are now in this, and we think that that's normal. What is normal? We think it's normal not to be able to sleep. We think it's normal not to be able to digest food, and we need to take something to reduce the acid in our stomach. We feel it's normal to feel aches and pains every day, and we consider that all of this as normal. I tell patients, what we have taken as normal is we take a medicine to breathe, we have allergies, we take a medicine to eat, we take a purple pill or something for the stomach, we take a medicine to go to the bathroom, and we take a medicine not to go to the bathroom. And for a lot of young people, they need a medicine to, have, intimate relationships. For everything in their life, they need a medicine. So they have created from a normal homeostatic state, we have created this altered sense of what we call normal, called allostatic state. So the body is getting this wear and tear at a rapid state. So when this allostatic state becomes an overload, we call it completely stressed. So how do we fix it? Fixing happens at multiple levels. To reduce the manifestations in the body, so we have to do certain bodily things. And sleep is very important, proper diet is very important, and exercise is very important. At the mental level, the emotional part of the brain, the limbic brain that is sensing all these signals out, we need to calm that down. How do we calm that down? Social relationships help. And then there is another top level of the brain, the thinking brain, that has to tell the animal brain to calm down. There is no fear. You're not smelling the tiger. There is no tiger there. This is not that kind of a stressor that you have to hit the alarm system. So once the mind calms down, the intellect or the prefrontal cortex, as we say technically, it has to calm it down. For that, we need cognitive restructuring, which is a lot of things that a lot of religious leaders talk about: forgiveness, acceptance, overcoming guilt, and surrender. And these are concepts that come from top down, and they come to calm down the animal brain. And then there are certain other behavioral things that can be done that can calm the mind so that it is receptive to the top down information. And those are your breathing exercises, your meditation, and those kind of exercises calms the mind so it is more receptive to the top down signal. So to summarize, stress management, I would start with simple things with diet, exercise in the behavioral level. And then to calm down the mind, we would talk about meditation, breathing exercises, support system like social relationships, and then ultimately the most important thing is cognitive work that has to happen. Without cognitive restructuring, or to sound less technical, without altering the way we think, we cannot overcome stress, which means we need to remove this glass that is showing everything as yellow and look at it normally. It's really not that bad. For a, hey, not bad. I can see the flowers. It's still, the sun is coming up. Still, most of us are alive. There's no major famine on the street. So let's put things in perspective. For all of that, I cannot do it if I'm running in fear. I need to calm down so that I can learn this.
I love that. Calm down. That's really, really good. And I don't know whether you're aware of it or not, but you just covered most of the 5 principles in what you had to say. Because, well, the first principle says that there is only God. And the second principle says that we have a spark of the divine within us. We are all divine. The third one says that we create our reality by our thinking, which is exactly what you just said. We get all caught up in a very layman's term, the what ifs. What if? What if? What if? Well, what if? We have the ability to choose how we're going to react. And then, if we think about it a little further, we can decide how we want to respond. Because reaction and response, from my perspective, is vastly different. Because I can react to something initially, and then, given that fourth principle, which is prayer and meditation, taking it into that space within me and decide how I want to respond. Because screaming and kicking like I reacted to it is not it. It is not it. And that is what has kept me through this COVID thing. Right here. Right here. Sure, I've had days when I was done with it. But I rely on what I've learned right here in Unity. And you have just verified everything that I believe that Unity teaches. And our job after that third and fourth step, changing our thinking, and the prayer and meditation piece, is how we're going to react. How are we going to walk through this time? And we get to choose. We get to choose what we want to do. We get to choose whether we're going to eat properly, get the rest that we need, whether we're at our job or anything else. You said it multiple times, how important our sleep is. Not only the quantity, but the quality of our sleep. And it's just, for me, it's awe-inspiring to hear this kind of information coming from a medical professional. Don't hear it often. I've never sat with someone, a doctor, who said to me what you did. Tell me about you.
Oh,
Tell me about you.
Yeah.
I'm here to treat you. So I am eternally grateful that you have been here this evening to share with us what we really already knew. But you put it in a different perspective. And you spoke it with such authority because you know that it works. You've seen it work in your own life and in others. And that is grateful. That is great. And I am grateful that you're here.
you know, it's more than anything else, you sit in awe looking at the grandeur of the mechanism that is present. And what happens is you develop a sense of respect to the whole thing. And you also feel that you have a very high responsibility towards this great magnificent system that is created for us, and to do your part. And so yes, it has been a privilege actually to be part of this.
Thank you. And so, dear friends, Dr. Srinivasan has shared with us a different perspective on the basic principles of unity, things that we already knew, but from a different level. And what a gift that is. As he and I have talked off and on over the last few weeks, this just felt very perfect for me, and I hope it was worth your time this evening to be with us. And so, as we close this evening, let us close in prayer. So, if you will just breathe with me. Take a really deep breath. Let it out slowly. And now another one. And as you release it fully. And one more. There seems to be magic in that third one that moves us to that place deep within where we know that there is truly only one presence and one power in our lives and in the universe, God, the good, omnipotent. And we just say, thank you, God, for that knowingness. Thank you, God, for this opportunity to come together and share our perspectives on the things that are important to us in this world today, knowing that none of it really matters when we remember that all truly is well. Sure, there's all sorts of things that disturb, but we get to choose how we want to react to those. And then we respond from that place deep within. For we know at the core of our being that all is well. And we say thank you. Thank you, God. And so it is. I ask these things in the name and through the nature of the Christ that dwells within us all. Amen. Thank you all again for being here. God bless you. And namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste to you.